Not a clean one. That's a great one. Woo!
All right, welcome to the World Famous Adventurers Club. My name is Grant McComb, member 1231, and it is my distinct honor to be interviewing Scott McQueen, member number
1234. Excuse me, 1243.
1243.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Scott. Welcome back to the club, and it's good to have you here today.
Happy to be here. Always am.
So before we get into it, I want to apologize. Due to some technical difficulties, we might not have all of the media or any of the media that Scott provided tonight, but I will say I saw it all. Ooh and ah when I point to you.
It was amazing.
It was great. Best pictures I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah. It's okay. There's a possibility we might be able to overlay after the fact in an edit or something like that. We'll try and make that happen.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'll try and paint pictures of the mind.
It's wax philosophical.
Ooh, are we doing that right now?
We can. It is allowed in this venue.
Well, if we want to rock up an intro, like last time we did it, last time I was here, we got to the good stuff before the intro even kicked in.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Well, we're in the thick of it now. The show is running. So tell us.
Shocking.
From the last talk you gave to now, just give us a teaser as to what's happened. What's gone down?
Oh goodness. So. My last talk involved discussing a long trip into Baja California solo on my Triumph Scrambler 1200, and that was such a transformative experience that basically started making plans for a much longer trip, possibly stretching into multi-continental and trying to also spend as much time living off of the bike as possible. During that talk, though, I did talk about the importance of doing it solo, but in this case, I had the pleasure of having my lovely partner, Taylor, with me for this trip. Taylor's an extraordinary person in this case because not only after I invited her on this trip, she literally went and bought a motorcycle, learned how to ride it, and went with, we basically embarked on that trip with only a few months under her belt before going on that trip. So if anyone should be here and should be highlighting how extraordinary they are, Taylor should be it, but I'm the one that's available tonight, unfortunately.
Right. So zero experience to riding across continents.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, extraordinary person, extraordinary partner.
So walk me through some of the planning of the trip.
Oh goodness, this trip has been years in the making. Basically, ever since I was 15 years old, some years ago, I wanted to be kind of a motorcycle nomad and experience the world through the lens of basically being a backpacker that could make it 200 miles in a day rather than 20. And through a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice and spending a lot of time focusing on that as a singular goal. That's what we were able to eventually achieve here. Mostly the European portion for this stint. Yeah.
I remember the long nights of ramen and skipping meals, putting money away for something like this.
Yes. This was kind of the North Star for a long time. Everything was kind of a service of making sure that the ride was possible, and because of that, it's just been a dream to be able to have this last year living off of the bike with Taylor, or bikes rather. We're on 2 bikes.
So in preparation for the trip, she got her motorcycle license, bought a bike.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ride your existing bike? Did you build something new? Walk me through this.
See, that is a tale of 2 philosophies on there, because Taylor is a much more pragmatic person. I'm a little bit more showy. So what ended up happening was we ended up with 2 very philosophies in our bikes. Taylor bought a Yamaha XT250, brand new, no problems, or all the problems would be her own at least, so there's at least traceability there, whereas I found a gentleman who had decided that his days of riding were over and he was letting go of the most powerful KTM dirt bike that ever existed, the KTM 500 EXCF. Just this, it looks like a standard dirt bike, except for it just can do backflips. And I bought used. I bought someone else's baby and made it my own. I added a front fairing to get wind out of my face. I added a little bit of GPS and some electronics and this, that, and the other thing. Next thing I knew, I'd rebuilt most of the bike in my image, and with all the reliability quirks that come with that. So by the time I was completed, I was more than the value of the bike into it in accessories. And Taylor basically took a standard Japanese small dual sport, added some protections for the hand guards and the back of the bike, and off she went. And guess who spent more time wrenching between the two of us? It was definitely me. Yeah, I heard someone from the audience.
Before and after the trip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I definitely made some choices that I would probably not make again in this case. But the bike itself, the motor, rock solid. It was basically everything I added that caused problems.
Right. Did you have a lot of experience working on bikes prior to building this one out?
I did. There was a community motorcycle garage it's no longer there anymore, called Moto Republic in Eagle Rock. I was friends with the owner, went in and worked on bikes for the shop at times, did a little bit of part-time work, just got acquainted with the craft and stuff like that.
So you had the skills to be on the road with a bike that most likely would need ongoing support, ongoing work.
Yes, absolutely. It was with the idea that problems are inevitable. Adventures are adventures are what happen between what you planned and what actually happens. So it was built with adventure in mind, with the idea of being light and lean the entire time, and also just taking into account that you're going to have to change the oil every 500 miles, which is a little...
Day and a half of riding, 2 days
Day
of
and a half of riding.
riding.
Good luck sourcing the very specific weight of oil that you need when you're in the middle of Cappadocia or something along those lines. So yeah, it was a little bit lacking in foresight there, but it honestly did make the adventure in a lot of ways, in particular in the people that you meet. Because when you're on a bike, when you're on a bike that needs attention and also doing something, if you're on the road long enough, you're going to need help from the people around you. And one thing about motorcycle overlanding is that people are so ready to come and introduce themselves, ask you, how are you here? Like, all they had to do more often than not in Europe was see my license plate, which is half the size of a European one, and go, wait, how did you get here? And it started so many conversations, some of which led to business cards being exchanged, stories about what people want to do or what they have done, and also it's fantastic that it's fantastic to experience all of the in-between places, all the places you are trying to get to. There's the destination, there's the origin, and then there's the journey in between. And the people that we met on the journey in between each one of the kind of tentpole locations were some of the best people we've met.
Love it. Love it. And I think we might be able to load some of the media at this point.
Yep.
Let's start with your motorcycle in your living room. If we can pull up that picture.
Yeah.
And then we can dive into the question that a lot of Europeans ask you. How did you get here?
How did you get here?
And while we're waiting for that, how did you get there? Starting from Tennessee, where did you go? How did you get there? Walk us through those first couple of steps in the journey.
I mean, so live. That's a mechanic working on my bike in France. Look for a dog sitting on a bike. But so what generally happened was that when there was a item that was actually scheduled, there was a time crunch in there because everything takes longer than you think it's going to. And our departure from Tennessee was exactly that.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So we had decided that we were going to depart from a motorcycle overlanding meetup called Horizons Unlimited in Virginia, and from there we were speaking at that show, basically saying, "Okay, we are leaving on this adventure. This is the before. This is before the sleep deprivation and all the adventures," and kind of giving an intro saying, "This is what we expect to happen." And then when we get done with the trip, we go back to the exact same event and compare and contrast what our expectations and what the results were. And so we had to crunch in order to get the bikes, get everything ready for this event. And in this photo here, this is our dog Willa in our living room on the bike. Why is the bike in the living room? Because while we were still getting the bikes completely prepped, it was absolutely dumping outside. I don't have a garage at my home in Tennessee. And so we brought both of the bikes into our living rooms and had them completely in pieces all across the house. And if that's not like indicative of the trip, I don't know what is, but at least we got photos of a cute dog while we did it. Go ahead and go to the next shot. That's us loading up the bikes. We had rented a truck in order to get to New York, Virginia and then New York. Went to Virginia, got there at 3 a.m., had our presentation at 8 a.m. It was great. Presentation went fantastic. We were really well received, got a lot of wisdom from people that do this all the time, that are like, "Oh, well, on one of my around the world trips." But one of the key factors here was that we had to say goodbye to our beloved pets. Go ahead and go to the next shot. Yeah, that's my partner Taylor saying goodbye to Willa. And next one, next shot, please.
So while we're looking at these photos, talk to me about kind of the anticipation of the journey and the departure from like home life and the routine of kind of day-to-day living.
Yeah, one of the factors with going on a journey like this, where you're going to be gone for less weeks, not days, not weeks, but months and years, is that you have to park a lot of your life, and that includes opportunity cost of all kinds. It could be friends that go from missing you to, "Oh yeah, you did live here, didn't you?" It goes, you end up having to say goodbye to employers, so you have to be prepared for that. And you have to find someone to take care of your house, take care of your pets, and hope that everything kind of works out while you're gone. In a lot of ways, you kind of you piece out of your normal life for a bit, and that's by far the most difficult part. That's by far the most. I want to use the word expensive, but I don't mean monetarily. It costs you to be gone for this long, and it's worth it, but that's the primary barrier that I think the most people would experience when trying to do a trip like this. Being on the road it's not that expensive, it's not that challenging in a lot of facets, but it's really, really taxing on all of the things you have established in your life prior to the trip.
There's an emotional toll and an opportunity cost.
Yeah. But it's worth it. It's worth it because I don't know. Like I'm 36 as of this recording. Taylor's younger, but you never know when you're not going to be able to be physically capable of doing a trip like this, or emotionally capable, or there's only a small window that if you have the opportunity, you should seize it. And if you want to do this, you should make it a priority sooner rather than later. You don't know what the state of the world's going to be in, and it's a big world out there.
So the first leg of the trip, Tennessee to Virginia, Virginia to New York.
Yeah. And then because it was one of our soft goals, throughout this trip was to not make advancements in the trip, like not get further into the trip via air. As much as possible, stay on the ground, stay on the sea, in order to appreciate some things that I'll talk about in a minute. But because of that, instead of transporting the bikes via air and transporting ourselves via air, we opted to do sea voyages for both. We took the Queen Mary, one of the last ocean liners that are meant to actually get you from place to place via sea, and we put the bikes a little disappointingly on another boat. we begged Cunard, who owns the Queen Mary, to put the bikes on the boat with us, and they said no can do. The customs, they weren't set up for that, the customs import. But in any case, we were able to take this wonderful kind of adventurous opening journey across the sea on this glamorous ocean liner, and meanwhile the bikes were in a cargo container kind of alongside us across the Atlantic.
And you had mentioned that prior to booking the tickets on the ship that you traveled on, the Queen Mary, you had looked into potentially working your way across the passage, but that opportunity kind of didn't exist anymore in a post-COVID world.
Yeah, it used to be that you could book kind of a passage on a freight ship, but that's not really a thing anymore. Unfortunately, it's that coincidence of insurance and red tape and what have you, and it just wasn't an option, unfortunately. But it definitely would be something that would be interested if it ever became available again.
So where did you land when you arrived in Europe?
We landed in the origin of the Titanic, which is Southampton, England, and just a famous ocean liner port. So it felt like the beginning of a real journey that way, because all these great journeys had either departed or come from this port. Unfortunately, the bikes weren't there yet, and word of advice: if you ever move a vehicle via sea freight, make sure that you just kind of send the vehicle along ahead of you, and don't go based on the timeline of the logistics company that you work with, because they will say a thing, and then reality will blow that out of the water. If you send a bike or a vehicle anywhere, just wait for it to arrive and then book your flight or plane passage, because or sea passage, because it took an extra month and a half for the bikes to arrive.
So you were in the UK for a month and a half waiting for these bikes.
Uh-huh.
Was there a point where you were like, they're never coming?
Yeah.
The trip is over before
we thought they were lost a couple times. What was disconcerting was we got a month in, and we had tracking devices on each of the bikes. And we would check the tracking devices, and then we would realize they were in the same lot in New Jersey.
Ugh.
Hadn't even moved. And we were just like, that's really rough. So the anxiety was building to the point where... and we were enjoying the UK. We explored the UK, but it definitely didn't feel like a motorcycle trip for that month and a half. It felt more like we rented a car trip and went around the UK. So at least once they did arrive, we were able to really enjoy the UK and enjoy France, actually. I'm trying to think of any photos that could demonstrate that. There's some photos of me sitting on the ground working on the bike. I don't have a shirt on. I hope that's okay. Shield your eyes.
Get your dollar bills out.
We'll do our best. Yeah, throw your singles out. But anyway.
Were the bikes more or less intact when they arrived?
Yep. Yeah, the bikes were completely intact. A little bit worse for wear. They had been in a lot of sea air, so we had to do some surface removal of some rust. But otherwise, it was fine. All right. Yeah. So that's perfect. That
So the
is.
bikes arrived.
Yep,
And
yep.
the journey begins.
Yeah, that's actually our host in Southampton. That's up on the screen right now. That's on the bike. His name was Darren. He was motorcycle. He was a motorcycle courier around London.
Oh.
So he had so much to say about riding in the UK, and it was absolutely lovely. We met so many lovely people on this trip, whether they be Airbnb hosts or whether they be passerbys that came by on the street and said, "You look lost," and eventually, sometimes even just offered a place to stay for the night. Taylor and I, we ended up camping more often than not. Go ahead and bring up any shot of that involves a tent, and that'll work. But we used resources like iOverlander for campsites that are reviewed, and it's almost kind of like a I don't know how to say it. It's kind of like hobo code a little bit. I don't know if you're allowed to say that anymore, but like
Bunk-a-Biker.
Yeah. It's like it's basically like this is a good tent site, and there'll be improvised tent sites in random spots around the world, and it just led to so many adventurous nights and experiences. Another resource that we used a lot was called Bunk-a-Biker, and oh, that's a dog. Oh no, that's a camping. So that's us camping in a rural France. We found a field that worked, and it was run by the mechanic that we were using at the time. And we would string basically our location at any given time and our destination, and we try and find as many camping resources or what have you, because the weather was good and the scenery was beautiful, and it was just a lovely thing to have your entire life on these bikes in 24 liters apiece and be able to make your way across Europe in that way.
So you had a rough idea of where you were going, but you didn't really, have a hotel booked, a host waiting for you. You looked for an empty field, and you had a tent with you.
Exactly. Yeah. We hit about 3 p.m. every day, and we kind of went, okay, time to look for a place to sleep. And more often than not, that would be a Bunk-a-Biker that we texted that is offering their couch or their spare room for free to motorcyclists that happen to be passing through. Couch surfing, which aren't strictly speaking motorcyclists, but people that are offering the same. Airbnbs, but it's a lot more economical to tent or stay with a kind stranger than doing Airbnb every night. So we definitely had multiple options. It was nice.
So that's great. I mean, this picture is outside of England. You made it to France.
Yep.
Was that the first stop after England? Did you just shoot straight over?
We shot straight over. We were kind of raring to go as soon as the bikes arrived in the UK. We'd spent a month and a half exploring various landmarks.
The Bangers and Mash had lost its charm.
Bangers and Mash were amazing. We were just ready. For something new. And this is a field outside of Lyon. Excuse me, it wasn't Lyon. It was Le Mans. We got the chance to catch some museums devoted to the road racing in that location, and it was just fantastic.
Was this before or after the Isle of Man TT?
It was that. So the Isle of Man was an event that we actually did get to visit, but it was before the bikes arrived. So the Isle of Man, if we got any shots of road racers going through, any one of those will work. And for those that aren't initiated, the Isle of Man or the Isle of Man TT is a time trial or a trophy cup where they close the Isle of Man, which is right in between England and Ireland. It's smack dab in the sea between those two islands, and the ring road is turned into a racetrack, completely closed off for 2 weeks at a time, and racers do time trials around the island at about 200 miles an hour. It's immensely entertaining to watch, but
They're
absolutely
dangerous,
terrifying,
yeah.
incredibly dangerous. They usually have a few fatalities every single year of the racers. Luckily, the year that we attended, nobody lost their life. A couple people did get injured, but nobody lost their life, and that was a big deal. That was something we only wanted to kind of say out loud once we got the event was over and we were off the island, because you didn't want to jinx anything. You didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, you don't want to be on their first day.
Yeah,
Hey, anybody die yet?
You don't want to be. You want to be the one putting out that juju.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
it's bad. But yeah, by that time, around July, we had acquired the bikes about 2 weeks later, and we were in France. Just kind of tracing a line all the way up to Scandinavia, going north with the seasons.
That's great. Walk me through that next leg of your journey. You have the bikes. You're in France. Where next?
Well, we had the bikes. My bike, however, was a little bit sickly, so we were making it a little bit slow as we visited Paris and explored that area. My bike decided that it would like to eat every battery that I gave it, and that it would also like to disregard whether it had a ignition key in it or not. So it would just turn on, and headlight would be on, and then we'd wake up and my battery would be completely dead, and I'd have to go and buy another one. Turned out after a lot of troubleshooting that the ignition switch, like the actual switch that triggered the bike to be on, had a short in it, and that meant that it could just turn on whenever it felt like. It was a $15 part, but it was about $800 in troubleshooting to get there. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fixing stuff is a part of the deal.
And all the parts are pretty readily available as you're moving through Europe.
Sometimes. So it is an American bike, even though it is KTM is an Austrian make. The bike itself was made for America, so there are some parts that were specific to it. It's fine. The troubleshooting might have involved some overnighting parts from Spain, but it's all right. It's all in the service of adventure.
So there were some hoops you had to jump through.
Oh, definitely, absolutely, and definitely getting Spaniards to speed process, quickly process overnight anything. That definitely involves some extra fees.
So did you just have to replace that starter, or were there other things that you had to do to the bike to get it up?
No, that was actually all that I needed, but I did buy way more than I needed to, because there was such a time crunch to get things going.
Right.
But as we continued forward, we stayed with a myriad of people who were just fantastic. We stayed with some bikers in Belgium who were known for road racing, tiny little like Grom bikes, and they had kind of an impromptu motorcycle gang devoted to the Honda Dax. I don't know if anyone knows the Honda Dax. It's tiny. It's actually smaller than the Grom, and the frame of the thing is actually the fuel tank. It's a very interesting bike, but it gets you about this far off the ground. So imagine these people like completely decked out in like 1%er leathers with like rocker but it's like so. Yes, exactly. It's exactly a monkey run. But yeah, fantastic folks over there. And as we continued upward into Denmark, I mean, stuff happens. Aside from camping in some of the most beautiful places ever, we did, in fact, have a few mishaps where, like, for instance, I lost my wallet. I left it at a gas station at one point. Very, very, just being a spacey person, I guess I didn't sleep very well the night before. But because it's Denmark, of course, the woman that found it ended up mailing it to me weeks later. Once we had a solid address, I think we were in Krakow, by that point, Krakow, Poland. But just we were blessed every single time that we met anyone. The kindest people showed up.
Do you feel like being on the bike made it easier to connect with people across your journey?
Absolutely. There's something very different being on a bike and being exposed to the weather, the elements, just being available and not having that glass or steel in between you and the world that makes people want to come up to you and ask, "Hey, what's your experience? What got you here?" And I don't think we would have experienced that if we were road tripping in a sedan or something along those lines, or a van.
Right.
Yeah.
People who kind of either ride or are interested in riding, they want to know what's up. They want to know what
you're
you're doing.
available to others' curiosity. You're available, and in some cases, if you're having issues, say there was one instance. This is one of the few times where Taylor was in peril, not me. And it involved a bike lock that we were using to secure the bikes. It had slipped into her chain as she was going down the road, and thankfully it didn't lock up her rear wheel the way it could have, but it definitely made a ruckus and definitely got tangled into her rear hub. We pulled over. Did what we could, but it was going to take 3 sets of hands to do this. One person to move the bike forward and back, another to try and untangle it, another to pull. Like it was becoming quite a scene. So this was in northern France, and a gentleman in a tow truck pulled over. Didn't ask for anything. We just did hand signals and showed what was going on as he offered help. And this guy, all I can describe him is he looked like a live action Super Mario. Like the cap, the colored overalls. He didn't have an M up here, but like even an Italian dude. Like it was incredible. So he pulls over, forearms the size of Christmas hams, and he's just like pulling this chain out of the thing. He finally dislodges it with us and goes, "Je suis Italien!" Which is quite a mix. It just felt like almost at times the trip felt like it was planned or written by a screenwriter, where you just have these characters showing up and presenting themselves, and just how quirky and interesting everyone was, but all at the same time it was a comedy, not a tragedy. So everyone was a good vibe. So
you said northern France.
yeah, that was in northern France. I know we're jumping around a bit, but honestly, there's just a lot of stories and a lot of things that come to mind. So we're doing a little bit of relation.
You tell the stories, I'll keep the geography straight.
It's
So you're in northern France. What's the next move? Do you have it planned yet, or are you kind of just thinking, where are we going next?
We're following the seasons.
Following the seasons.
There's only certain times of year that you can go into Scandinavia, and Scandinavia was definitely a priority. Everyone had spoken about how beautiful Norway is. Just so our kind of like pseudo destination at that point is Norway, and to get there via land as much as possible, you're going up through Denmark, which is just full of lovely people. So there's a clip, Rich. Excuse me, there's a photo of it's another guy. He's smoking a cigarette on the back of, facing backwards on his own bike. Hopefully you can find it, but there is also an important aspect when you're traveling as two people and two very independent people, and that is finding time to have your own journey, finding time to have your own space. So from time to time, Taylor and I, when we felt comfortable with the area and when we were just kind of tired of looking at each other, we would basically set a destination and say, like, I will meet you in such and such town in 3 or 4 days. And because of that, that allowed us to have our own experiences where we could tell a story to each other for once, instead of each having shared the same experience through two different set of eyes. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about kind of breaking off in northern Germany from Taylor, because she had some work to do, for her profession, was I went and rode the Trans-European Trail, which is an impromptu set of trails that go and crisscross every direction across Europe. It's not one route, it just patchwork everywhere.
Spiders out.
Yeah, it's amazing. Certain countries have more Trans-Euro Trail, certain ones have less, and it's based on the availability of dirt roads and the possibility of going on kind of going off piste and discovering like farm tracks and things like that. So I went on this this Trans-Euro Trail segment in Denmark and just crisscrossing the landscape on dirt tracks when I get to kind of a roadblock where a railroad bridge had been closed and it wasn't on the map. So I'm stopping there and I'm checking my map, trying to find a route around, and then this guy shows up on a Yamaha T7. His name is Felix, and he's on the exact same road as I am, and he's actually going about the same destination 2 days ahead. And I'm like, dude, do you want to ride together? He's like, yeah, this sounds great. He's German, so he's like, yeah, this is great. And he's a fantastic rider. He's a little bit better than I am. Like, he was keeping the speed a little bit, but because of that, I could kind of pace myself with him, which makes it fantastic. And we're just tracing our way across the landscape when my muffler explodes.
Oh.
It didn't explode so much as just you've got a volume in your silencer and a cap at the very end, and the cap is held on with rivets, and those rivets had just been loose enough to vibrate when you give it the beans, and as this vibration happened, it slowly wore the end of the exhaust off. So all I know is that at one point my exhaust gets incredibly sexy sounding. It went from going put 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 to bum ba bum ba dum ba dum ba dum. It was just fantastic, but it's also highly illegal, super illegal. So to the point that the German guy was like, "I can call a tow truck if you want." And I'm like, "No, man, I'll just deal with whatever." He's like, "Well, the rest of your bike is illegal anyway in this country. It's fine." Turned out my turn signals were too small. It turned out that my license plate was too parallel with the ground. It wasn't lit properly. I was just not being compliant up and down. But this was a little bit more obvious because you could hear me for about 5 miles in every direction if I was given it the juice. And unfortunately, there was not much you could do about it, so I decided to just carry the end of the exhaust with me in my bag, and if the Polizei found me, then I was just going to be like,
Ich habe Exhaustpipe.
Ich habe ein Problem. Yeah, exactly. So these experiences were a little bit stressful at the time because I was genuinely worried about having the bike impounded because I was in a part of the country, a part of Europe where that actually could happen. But there's a photo, Rich, of me standing in what looks like a metal shop with some gentlemen. I just Googled metal shops near where I was, as Felix and I eventually had to part ways. But once we had done so, I just Googled metal shops that had welding, and I just did my best with the little bit of Danish that I had to try and arrange for someone to just spot weld this thing together. One metal shop eventually gave me a straight answer. It was usually just no. Eventually, they told me why it was no, and it's because the exhaust is made out of two dissimilar metals. Like that end cap is made out of steel, and the rest of the exhaust is made out of aluminum. You can't weld those together, or at least it's not easy to. So
it's more specialized than general metal work.
Exactly, but they did kind of like run some rivets through. Yep, that's the metal shop with it. This guy was so proud of his. It's not an El Camino. No, it has a truck back.
Ranchero.
It was a Ranchero.
It's a Ranchero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Must be impossible to get in his neck of the woods.
Absolutely impossible. He was like, I spent 150,000 euro.
No kidding.
He was very he was the guy that owned the shop.
Right.
They were very, but I tried to pay them for the work that they did, and he was like, no, I ride too, man. My bike is over here. He actually shows it. Right. It's behind the Ranchero. Just having an interesting enough story and being willing to share it has led to so many dividends. Just people were kind to a fault.
Have you seen less and more of biker culture as you've gone through different countries? Like, have you seen it as a larger aspect in different countries and a smaller aspect in other countries?
Yeah, I mean, so you're at the intersection of two very giving cultures, because motorcyclists tend to take care of motorcyclists. You see somebody on the side of the road, especially if they have their helmet on the ground, you at least give them a thumbs up, thumbs down, like, do you need help or not? And more often than not, people will stop even if you're like, it's fine, don't worry about it. And then there's also the traveler, the traveling culture of, hey, I know you're on a budget. I know you've got a long way to go. Let's see how I can make this stranger's life better. And consistently that happened. Yeah. So, and that was regardless of any country that we were in. Some countries were, it seemed like the fewer resources that the locals had, the more they were willing to share them, simply because they wanted they wanted travelers to have a good experience of their location. There's another shot with a gentleman in spectacles, along with Taylor and I, also in a motorcycle shop, Rich. That was in, yep. There you go. So that was one of our friends in France, but there's another one where we're in Serbia, and Taylor finally needed tires for the first time. She was still running her stock tires and had worn through them. And she found this gentleman. His name was Matteo, I believe I want to say. I might be incorrect on that, but he ran a shop out of his backyard with his elderly father, and he actually, because we were late in the season at that point, had to smuggle tires into Serbia for us from Germany.
Wow.
Yes, that's him. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll blur his face later so he doesn't get in trouble.
Oh no, he was. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
So Jonathan helped you get these tires in. He smuggled them for you.
Mateo, I think it was Mateo. But who knows? Who knows? I'm sorry.
Trying to help the guy out.
Oh yeah.
So Steven helped you smuggle these tires.
Francesco was the best guy ever.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah. And one of the things that we really appreciated about him was that he was into bike customization, and so he showed us all sorts of custom bikes that he'd made previously, and he was just we were the first travelers, the first non-Serbians he'd ever had the chance to work with. He'd never even seen both of our models of bikes before,
but
no kidding. He bent over backwards to get us on the road and keep us there. Gave us routes through the rest of Serbia and just went the extra mile all over the place. Serbia was another situation where Taylor and I actually parted ways for a little bit because again, she had some work responsibilities that she was doing remotely, and so as I was catching up with Taylor at one point, I was trying to avoid a toll road. That toll road. Basically, that toll road detour turned into it turned into a dirt road. Then it turned into a single track. Then the sun went down, and I'm looking at the map, going like, "This is barely even a donkey trail," and it's showing as a full-blown road in Google. So that's fun. It's now pitch black out, and then the road led straight into. Oh, why am I seeing stars on the ground? It was a pond. It led into a pond. What was even crazier was that the pond was boiling. I kid you not. It was not a hot spring either. It was right next to an industrial plant.
Oh.
Right?
Very nice.
Right? And there's no turning around at this point. There was absolutely, I was too far in, so I just kind of tucked my feet up, just hoping, like, because you don't know. I've seen Dante's Peak. Like, there's that part where the grandma gets out of the boat and
dissolves.
It's not too explicit, but yeah. And I was like, I don't want to dissolve. So who knows? If the bike dissolves, that's fine. But yeah, I got through that. But for some reason, the bike at that level, like up to where I say liquid because I'm not sure it was water. The bike wouldn't get wet for 2 weeks. Like the water would just bead off. So we're like, I was like, huh. I'm glad I didn't get that on my body.
I pay a lot of money for my car to do that. So that was.
So I got ceramic coated by a field in Serbia. But yeah, don't take detours in Serbia. Just stay on. Pay the tolls. Go on the main highways.
So you're in Serbia. You just got a ceramic coat.
I just got a ceramic coat. Yeah. We got the bikes serviced. They're absolutely beautiful. One thing that I really enjoyed was all the cultures between cultures here in this part of Europe was because you get to say you're in the northern part of Poland, you would be experiencing a completely different culture close to the Lithuanian border, as opposed to the southern border, which was more Slav. Mm-hmm. And so you start seeing the onion domes of Russian Orthodox churches at the top, and then you start seeing more like Ottoman Empire type stuff down at the bottom. People's accents change. There's kind of cultures between cultures, and it's just it's an amazing way to experience so many cultures in so little time and so little space.
As you move further east, how much Western culture do you see kind of dissipating into Eastern culture?
Pretty much as soon as we entered Bosnia.
Bosnia, okay.
Bosnia is just south of Serbia. Bosnia is an increasingly Muslim area of the world. So that's when you started hearing the call to prayer in the morning. It's when you started seeing people in hijabi and perhaps, depending on how conservative the city is, burqa. And so you'd see women in full coverage and also men just starting to sport beards and things like that. But at the same time, you'd also see very modern European dress, people in leggings and suits and things like that.
So Bosnia was really that
Bosnia was the transition point.
Transition point.
Also, in all honesty, people have asked, because we've now crossed 30 countries over the course of this trip, with the exception of a little bit of Mediterranean Europe. And people ask consistently what the most beautiful place was across that, and we have to say Bosnia. Bosnia was absolutely stunning and a delightful surprise. We happened to arrive exactly when the leaves were transitioning, and we were stricken by a national park that we were in, looking exactly like a dead ringer for the California Sierras and specifically Yosemite. Imagine Yosemite, but every single tree, every single bit of greenery is bright international orange. Everything being inexpensive, everybody being so very kind and curious, because they're not inundated with tourism. Ski resorts that you could tell were amazing, but it hadn't snowed yet for the season. But yeah, Bosnia was such a surprise, a delightful surprise, I gotta say.
How long were you in Bosnia?
I think we spent a full 3-4 weeks there.
Oh, nice. So you got a great opportunity to really explore.
Yeah, one of the things that we got the opportunity to appreciate is that generous visa lengths are such a gift. Something a lot of people don't get the opportunity to. An issue that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to deal with is that across most of Europe, there's a single border control zone called the Schengen, and you get, as an American, 3 months. at a time, and then you have to be out for 3 months, then you can come back for 3 months. And in all that space, you only get 3 months to enjoy 26 some odd countries. But the moment you get into the former Balkan countries, or the Balkan countries, you suddenly have access to 3 months at a time per country. And in the case of Albania, as an American, a full year. You can get off a plane and be in Albania for a full year.
No kidding, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's one of the longest tourism visas you can get. I think Georgia, the country of Georgia, is the other one.
Wow. I think I lost my mic.
Yeah, I think you lost your mic.
Huh. All right, well, I will just talk louder then. You said 35 countries?
30 countries.
30 countries.
Yeah, 30 countries at this point, with our longest tenure was in Turkey.
So can you rattle off all the countries you were able to visit?
Yeah, but you wouldn't enjoy it.
No, I'm testing you. This is for our benefit.
Oh, I can rattle them off. One of the most impressive things for me now is that I can actually name all the Balkans in order. So that would be Serbia, Bosnia Herzegovina, Montenegro, Northern Macedonia, Albania. Then we crossed Greece over a single day because we only had one Schengen day left on our visa. That was a journey.
Wow. Wait. Let's walk
14
through that.
hours.
Let's walk through that journey hour by hour.
No.
Just kidding.
You won't enjoy it. Though, it's really interesting how fate kind of frowns on you when you have a really tight timetable like that, because we had to, we actually had to cross Greece in a single day, as I mentioned, but it just so happened that the Greek agricultural industry decided to have a general strike that exact day, and one where they decided to park every single tractor in the entire country on the motorway. So we did it via side streets. It was supposed to be an 8-hour day. It turned into a 14-hour day because of. I mean, you know what? General labor. I'm sure they got what they demanded because they brought the entire country to its knees for that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a cool thing to see.
Yeah.
Not cool for the country. They didn't like it that much.
It would have been fine if the police had actually let us, because we can go between the tractors, and the farmers didn't have any gripes with us.
Right.
So we could have just gone between the tractors, but they wouldn't let any traffic anywhere near where the tractors were. So we had to find side streets just like everyone else. Pardon me.
And that was in the 11th hour of your visa.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. We literally had hours left on our Schengen visa.
Wow.
Yeah. So I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. I can feel everyone being ready for at least a potty break or probably a drink for the rest of the night. But
Well, we can throw it open to questions.
Yeah.
If you wanna
Does
field
anyone?
some questions?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right.
Do we have any questions?
No, thank you so much.
Right over here.
That's weird. I've never heard that term before. A Schengen visa? It's like Schengen visa or
Oh, it's Schengen, Schengen, I think. It's one of those, like, if you have a Venn diagram of the EU, it's like a slightly bigger circle that would go over it because the Schengen it doesn't include the UK, but it does include non-EU countries like Norway and Switzerland and countries like that. And they basically just have a single border control across all of them just to make commerce easier. But at the same time, it means that your visa is counted against every single one of those countries at the same time.
Is it electronically, digitally enforced?
It's very well enforced. In fact, I think that they've transitioned to an e-visa, or it is an electronic passport system. It's unified across all those countries. I believe Romania just barely joined it.
I'm curious about weather. I mean, I've ridden a lot, and I've ridden through typhoons, I think. It's like scuba diving on a motorcycle.
Yep.
What did you run into, and how did you handle it?
Oh, goodness. So one of the things that, so I mentioned how beautiful Bosnia was. One of the factors with that, we weren't riding at the time, mind you, but we camped for that night, and then we realized that our trusty tent that had been with us for 10 years finally had given up the ghost on its waterproofedness. So we woke up in a one, the tent was blown pretty much horizontal, but staying intact. But we were in 3 inches of water in our own tent. The worst weather that we've experienced was primarily later in the seasons, and that was actually recently in Turkey. That was outside of Izmir, where we were left, after dark in completely torrential rains. We both have some really nice waterproof gear, and it made it most of the way. No gear can hold up to that kind of rain. But yeah, it was like you said, it was like scuba diving on the bike.
So if you were to do this trip all over again, any differences in what bikes you would take with you?
Absolutely. So Tay had a very reliable setup and very durable. It was light, and I think that light is right when it comes to a trip like this, especially if you plan on doing any hard enduro or a hard off-roading where you're not familiar with the roads, with the route already. So a lot of people think a GS might be the right move for this, but I don't think either of us could have handled a large bike like that. There is a model that KTM makes that is kind of a mix between an off-roader and with long distance in mind, and I think it's called the 690 Enduro R. And it is what I should have brought, and I didn't. But that's okay, because it turns out that my bike was actually pretty reliable in and of itself. There's no perfect bike. There's no perfect way to do this trip or anything like it. But there's definitely hardware that's a little bit more optimal for long distance. And that'll be anything that's meant for dual sport, meant to be on the road a little bit longer.
So I have a question for you while Lance finds the next question on this side of the room. Where did you leave off, and when are you picking up again? Because I know this isn't the end of this trip.
Oh, no. I am in the middle of this trip, or we are in the middle of this trip as we speak. We're just taking a break for basically weather. So we've been in Turkey for the last month and a half. Specifically Istanbul, just crisscrossing it. Got to enjoy Istanbul for in so many ways. We now have friends there, things like that, and we've crisscrossed into the interior, into Cappadocia. If you're ever in Cappadocia, budget out and plan out taking the balloon ride, the hot air balloon ride. It is one of the best experiences of my entire life. I wish I had photos to show you right now in the deck, but it is absolutely worth it. We're going to be returning to Istanbul in early March, where the bikes, unfortunately, have overstayed their visa by about 5 days, so we'll hope that we're welcome in Turkey ever again on our exit. But on exiting Turkey, we're going to be tracing the Mediterranean, basically doing the southern half of Europe all the way back to Spain and Morocco.
So I want to hear more a little about light is right. Did you say you had 27 liters each of storage, or how much?
So
tell me about logistics and doing laundry and them details.
Oh, yeah. So each of us have, so early on, we made a few corrections to the way that we packed. One of those corrections was getting rid of every bit of cotton that we had with us. Cotton does not dry in the time that you need it to dry, and it picks up body odor, and it stains, and it's all these sort of things. The only thing that we really enjoyed about cotton was that, one, it's cheap, and two, it's durable. But it's not actually ideal for this. So we replaced all of our cotton with merino wool, which was expensive, but absolutely worth it. Merino wool, maybe something with a little bit of hemp in it in the future would probably be something we'd do because of durability. Merino isn't very durable. But as far as doing laundry, you get stinky. You're going to get stinky, but at least you're not wet. I'd rather be stinky than wet. That's words to live by. But the clothing issue was a big one. We have 3 outfits. We have basically designed to work in layers. So you have a short sleeve, a mid sleeve, and a long sleeve top. Base layers couple sets of pants. Honestly, sweatpants are pretty great because you can wear them underneath your. You can wear them as a thermal layer underneath your armored pants, or armored trousers rather, because pants means something different in the UK. Yeah, I would say laundering in the sink is perfectly fine. Wool dries beautifully, and it has to be line dried anyway. So there's really little disadvantage other than maybe the durability and cost issue with merino. Does that answer your question?
Go one over here.
Yeah.
Curious about the logistics of moving a vehicle from country to country.
Sure.
And deposits, in and out, and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so in the case of importing and exporting from Europe, the U.S. and Europe have a privileged arrangement on that. Because there are so many service members stationed in the EU in one way or another, whether it be Germany primarily or elsewhere, it's actually relatively easy to do a temporary import without having to pay the value-added tax. So because of that, when you bring a vehicle over, you're effectively just paying for the logistics of shipping. And that's the reason that we shipped from New York, because most of the logistics companies that go between the US and Europe were in New York. Cost-wise, you're going to be paying based on the amount of volume and the amount of weight that is for each bike. So a heavier, larger bike is going to cost a little bit more. For ours, we ended up averaging about $1,500, $1,700 per bike, with a $500 fee on the other end in UK, so about $2,000 per way. And honestly, we found that very reasonable, with the exception of it took absolutely forever. The logistics company that we used, which I'm not going to name because I don't have nice things to say about them anymore, they tried to charge us for the time that they were delayed and they were just sitting in their lot.
Like a storage fee?
Yeah, they tried to charge us a storage fee when they were the ones that were late. Like, it felt a little bit weird, so we were just like, I don't think so. So we'd already picked up the bikes at that point, and I may have a outstanding invoice with them still. No, I paid the entirety of the invoice. I just didn't pay the storage part.
Storage fees due to the delay.
Anyway.
How about insurance? Is there any special requirements?
No. Well, that's not true. There's a green card insurance that you need for the continent of the U.S. and for the UK separately. Green card is relatively inexpensive. I think we ended up paying about $20 a month. It does not cover the bike. It covers your liability only. There is no real insurance that's going to... I shouldn't say there's no insurance. There's no reasonably priced insurance that will cover the bikes being stolen or ruined. So just keep in mind, across that many jurisdictions, the insurance to actually do full coverage on a bike like that would be pretty cost prohibitive for most people.
Question I had was, how did you handle protecting your bikes from bike theft or things like that if you guys left them someplace? Did you bring them into your hotel room or?
Fantastic question. So one of the things that we did a couple things, and it depended on how nice the neighborhood was for the most part. So if possible, we tried to get places that had a backyard or something that got the bikes out of visibility. Barring that, we had a way of securing it so the wheels wouldn't roll in one way or another. All bikes come with some sort of handlebar lock. That does absolutely nothing. You can look it up online. You can break it with your knee. But one thing you can do is you can throw a disc brake, like a brake disc lock, into the front and the back, and then cover it. If you cover the motorcycle, anybody who's looking to mess with your bike or your possessions is going to have to do something really suspicious in order to even know what they're looking at. So because of that, throwing a cover on your bike, which might be $50, something like that, not only does it keep the rain off your bike, it keeps prying eyes and prying hands off of it. So I would do that 10 out of 10 times.
My friends who've lost bikes 2 to 3 guys show up with a van.
Yep.
They stick 2 pieces of pipe through the wheels because the engine could be hot.
Yep.
And they throw it into the back of the van and it's gone. My friend went to pick up a check. He was standing at the front door waiting for the husband to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
When he turned around to leave, his bike was gone from the curb, like
Yep.
25 feet from him.
Yeah, there are also certain bikes that are just more appealing to thieves. If you're leaving a BMW GS, for instance, it's a 30,000 euro bike out to the elements. Yeah, that's a pretty tempting target, and it's going to be really hard to hide just how uniquely large and imposing that bike is under a cover. So anyway, yeah.
Before we wrap up, I want to say that this is a journey that I've heard Scott talk about and plan for years.
He's so tired of it.
For years. And I'm incredibly proud that he is on it.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that has been years in the making, and I just want to say I'm proud of you for being on this trip, and thank you for joining us tonight and sharing the first leg of it with us. We hope you come back and fill us in when you're done with it. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott McQueen, thank you so much.